so many wonderful speakers, heard their inspirational stories, and I'm really, really happy to be here. Just like Paula said, I have been through a lot, but I've overcome a lot. And I think that everybody who's gone through anything in this life, you have the power to overcome if you haven't already. And I just want to encourage you while I'm here today and let you know that even through all the different things that I went through, even through all the failures and the health issues and all the things that really I thought was going to kill me, I decided that deep inside that little seed that God planted when I was a little girl, that I could overcome, that I don't have to give in. And I think a lot of times people give up. We give up too soon before we find out and discover our gifts and our talents, and before we figure out where we should be in this life. So, backtracking, a little bit of my story. Malika, man, you told my story, for real. Because I was that church girl as well. I was, from the day I was born, in the church. Born, bred, baptized, everything. And so, I was a good girl. Just like the bio said, I wasn't very exciting. I didn't go out and party. I was very sheltered. When I say sheltered, I mean my family moved when I was 12 from Atlanta, because I'm originally from Atlanta. And we moved to a rural area. Nobody. When I say nobody, there's like a house was maybe from here to the apartment complex over there. But the rest was nothing. Now I had church friends because we still went to church. But again, the shelter of life keeps you from the realities of life too. And so when you get out, you discover, there might be some nice things out here. But I was still trying to be the good little girl, keep my legs closed like my grandma told me, keep my head in the books. I was an overachiever, oldest child. I mean, there's so many different things there. But what I discovered and learned later on in life is when you're isolated like that, you tell yourself little stories that you take as reality, but it's not real. It's what you have built up in your own mind, and then you go out into the world and you think, okay, well, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I don't belong here, I'm lonely, there's so many different things, I'm not worthy. And then when that one guy comes along, he said, well, girl, you fine, woo! And then you get, a little something that happens inside of you. And then if that same person is your first person and it's a good going on, then you're like, wow, this is the one. And that's what happened to me. I've got a guy who was tall, handsome. I like those light-skinned guys too, Paul. I sure did. And he was all that, very adventurous. He was in the military, jumped out of planes, motorcycles, everything. Just really everything that I was like, the life I wasn't living, I was able to live through him. But there was a problem. I was blinded to the good. I was blinded to his attractiveness. I was blinded to the excitement and everything, because I went motorcycle riding with him. I went on trips with him. I felt like I was grown too. But then he didn't have enough for me. Now I'm not saying that he hit me, but it doesn't always have to be about hitting you.
Right, that's right.
It's about the words that are said to you. It's about the way they treat you. It's about the way they don't treat you. Because a lot of times we're so desperate for love that we accept anything. And they're what I call crumbs. The crumbs in life that people just throw at you because, you don't know any better, not really. Because you figure, that's normal, that's the way it's supposed to be. And a lot of times in our family of origin, we get crumbs. And so when we meet someone who's good looking, but they don't say the right things to you, you think that's normal. Those are crumbs. And so I was accepting all these crumbs, and fast forward 20 years later, I was still accepting crumbs from the same person who would not marry me, though I had a child by him. All those things that I thought I needed and wanted, and I was desperately trying to grab, demand, manipulate, all those things that I thought that was mine because I gave up so much of myself, I didn't get that from him. And so I had to finally let it go. It was 2 years ago. I finally said goodbye to him. That's a long time to be accepting crumbs, right? Yeah. And in the midst of all those things, all the Bible that you read, all those things, I was accomplishing all those things. But in my heart, I was still not whole. There was still a void there. There was still this needing and longing to be accepted and loved by this one person, not realizing that there's so many other people. And in the midst of all of that, we broke up, we got back together, we broke up and got back together. Still crumbs, still snatching, trying to get those little bitty things that he was dropping off the table when I deserved the whole buffet.
That's right.
But I wasn't getting that. And I didn't believe I really truly deserved that. And again, going back to your family of origin, sometimes if you don't tell your children how much they're loved and how worthy they are, you don't feel the void that's in them. They go looking somewhere else for it. And so as parents, we have to do that for our children. We have to say, baby, you're beautiful. You're a princess. I love you. I'm so glad you're here. I didn't get that when I was growing up. And so I was looking for it outside of myself. I didn't know that it was already inside of me because it wasn't birthed in me. That seed wasn't planted deeply enough. It was crummy. That's all I can say. But at the end of the day, I was on a journey to discovering who I am. Because as I discovered who I am, I was able to start accepting who I was. And acceptance is the first step to self-love. We've talked about that so much today. We need to love ourselves and how to love yourself and look in the mirror. But if you don't really truly accept all that you are, but it's even in accepting who you are, you have to know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, you can't accept who you are. And if you don't accept who you are, you can't accept other people. You can't love yourself. You can't love anyone else fully. Just like we heard earlier, we have to get to that space in our lives. But the thing about knowing yourself is hard because we've been fed a lot from the day we were born. We were fed, just like Paul said, people talk for her instead of knowing that she could talk for herself. We're fed, well, you're too fat, or you're too skinny, or you're too quiet. That was me, you're too quiet. You're too loud, you're too this, you're too that. And the labels that people stamp on us as we're growing up, we take those as truth. And it's really not the truth. And the truth is what you know about yourself, how much you accept yourself, how much you're willing to give of yourself and be transparent and vulnerable to yourself. It's hard work. It's really hard work. And as teens, they have a journey that they have to go through in going to school. It's hard there because they have other people telling them who they are, what they're not. And you have to go sit through all of that. So when you hit what I call the, I won't say the terrible 30s, but the 30s, oh my gosh, that was my time when I was like, oh, my life was falling apart, literally. My health was falling apart because in the middle of going through the 20-year relationship on and off, I got married to someone else. Wow. Because I was looking for that love because he had gone on and he was with other people, but we always found our way back to one another like ships in the wind. It was crazy. And then that was an abusive relationship, but again, because I was accepting anything, because I wasn't willing to really look deep and see how much worth I had. So I figured, if the guy that I love with all my heart won't marry me, well, somebody will. So that's my logic. That was my logic. And like Malika said, you don't understand what's really going on all those years. It's like, I finally diagnosed myself. I lost my mind. Really. Seriously. I had lost my mind. And I accepted that too. I was on depressed, I was on Zoloft, I was on Lexapro, I was, going through all those things. And then I started, when I was in the abusive relationship, started having hot flashes and, that ended. And then the hot flashes got worse. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Went to the doctor, he's saying, well, you're entering menopause. I was 32 years old. It's like stress was so great for me that it caused my body to start shutting down. Fortunately, I had kids already, and they were like, well, you won't have any children. So now I'm 45, and I'm And about 2 or 3 years ago, I was in just full-blown menopause. And it's like my bone health, because when you go through this, your bones start to get more brittle, you start having just more issues, and I'm too young for this. But I had to stay focused on healing myself, not just physically, because I knew the physical healing would not come if my emotional healing wasn't there. And so now, I don't have hot flashes. I've gone through the emotional healing, and I've invested in myself, because it is an investment in yourself when you say, okay, enough is enough, I'm done, no more crumbs. And that's when I wrote my book in 2012, and I told my story in the book. And it was hard, it was scary, because I had to deal with the family of origin issues, I had to deal with the relationship issues, I had to deal with myself, I had to deal with a lot. And as scary as it was, I had to keep pushing forward and saying, I'm worth it. And no matter who's hurt in the process, this is my truth, and this is a story that I have to tell for myself. So that's what I did. And so I started the No More Crumbs Women's Empowerment Initiative, because I felt it was important that other women know the importance of saying no more crumbs and not accepting all of the mess, accepting less than. And this is not just relationships, it's about every relationship you have. If you have a boss that is tripping, and they are always on your case and they're abusive, you get to say, no more crumbs, I'm done. You know, you can't talk to me like that. If you have family who still treat you like crap, then you get to say to them, no more, because I'm worth it. And they may think you lost your ever-loving mind, but that's okay. You get to stand up and say, no, because I'm worth more than this. And as you begin to open your mouth, as you begin to set your boundaries around your life, because you're worth it, then people will start to respect those boundaries, because we teach people how to treat us.
That's right.
And if we don't teach them how to treat us well, then you can't expect anything less, anything more than what they're doing for you. So take the responsibility back about how you want to be treated in this world. When you take responsibility, you can say no more crumbs. You won't be in a situation, God forbid, where you have a diagnosis of HIV or AIDS or any other venereal disease, because I was there too. I don't have HIV or AIDS, but I've been exposed to venereal diseases because I couldn't say I'm worth it. No more crumbs. Asking the right questions, opening my mouth and saying, well, let me see your papers. It's important. And so if you don't learn to open your mouth and say what you need to say now, then you're putting your life in someone else's hands. And so my message for you today is to say no more crumbs. Take back the control of your life. Don't go 20 years in a dead-end relationship of any kind, whether it's romantic, whether it's a boss, whether it's family, because you're going to kill yourself, because the stress will become so great. And you wonder why so many people are diagnosed with cancer, why they're diagnosed with anxiety disorder, why they're diagnosed with all these different illnesses. It's because they have suppressed and repressed everything, the truth about who they are, and not been able to use their voices because they've been told, sit down, shut up, and don't even bring any of this up. But even in the Black community, the Black culture, that's very prevalent. We tell people, don't tell stories, don't cry, don't feel, and so and then we get off on reality TV a lot because other people are expending the emotion that we wish we could. And that doesn't mean those people are bad, it just means that we need to take a good hard look at what we're doing, what we're ingesting into our lives, and become aware, self-aware. And as you become self-aware, you become more able to say no more crumbs. So I appreciate the opportunity to share some of my story with you. I appreciate the courtesy that you extended. And I want to let you know that my book, No More Crumbs, I got a new cover, guys. I'm so excited about it. No More Crumbs is available at nomorcrumbsdating.com. I do relationship coaching because from my past, I've learned what works, what doesn't work. And I'm not saying that what worked for me will work for you, but again, it's about discovering the best part of yourself and bringing your best self forward. And in doing that, you began to understand that this person's not healthy for me. They're not good for me, because I know that I deserve much better. And if they're not treating me the way I need to be treated, if I'm not blooming in this relationship, but I'm withering on the vine, I need to get out. So thank you again, Paula, for the introduction. Thank you, Danielle, for allowing me to come and speak. I have books available if you'd like to buy one, and I wish you Godspeed.